And welcome back to building the Amtrak Pacific Surfliner. We basically start off right where we left off last time with the Irvine siding and CP El Toro. Right here I just named some of the control points as necessary. And now I finish up CP El Toro, finally. And we continue on all the way to Santa Ana Station. I got a pretty big amount of track done in this one. Right here, I just proceed to add track to the Tustin station. Nothing super out of the ordinary. This build was a little insane for me because most of this track is like completely straight. I normally don't like doing a lot of straight track for a long period of time, and now I have a pretty good reason. I had to do for this build over 8 consecutive miles of straight track, and honestly it was painful a little bit. This build from El Toro to Santa Ana took me just short of 2 hours, so yeah, this is a much longer video than last time. Well, not much longer, just short of double. Right here I test and see if a Surfliner consist should fit in the Irvine station. It can. Barely. I may need to extend the station a little bit, but according to Google Maps and all that, I got the distances correct, so I don't really know at the moment. And right after here, I build CP Tinkham, and then you'll see me just build an extremely long stretch of a ruler, and then have the tracks eventually go along it. I go back and forth throughout the map a couple times, making sure the ruler is like within alignment of the tracks, and it was just like a horrible thing. It took me like 10 minutes just to get the like 8 miles down on a ruler in game. In case you guys aren't aware, the little like rainbow lines, those are the rulers for Trainz. You can measure distances and stuff. Right here I'm naming the control points for CB Tinkham. And then right here, I'm taking the time on Google Maps to get the distance from here to the next curve, which is in Santa Ana. And yeah, it's a pretty long distance. It was 8.28 miles. About, if I remember correctly, it was 43,100 something feet. And here I go, just extending that thing as far out as I can. I even have to place more baseboards. I like the stuff going through my mind right here. I was like, oh god, I have to build all this now. There's no turning back. There's no turning back once you start. I mean, there is, but then that's just dumb. Here's where I go back and forth and make sure the ruler is in alignment with the track. I'm just going back and forth like a maniac. But it ended up fine. I couldn't get it perfect, so I got it as close as I could. And I think I did fairly well with getting it straight. I don't know, there might be like the world's lightest curves within it, but who cares? Right now I'm proceeding to get the lengths for the some railroad crossing up ahead. I believe it was, oh wait, no, I haven't even built Tustin yet. It's not Red Hill Avenue. It's Harvard Avenue or something like that. It was a pretty decent distance away, like 2,000 or 3,000 feet. So that's what I'm doing right here. Then I get the crossing, and then right after this, it's the Tustin station. There's like nothing in between Irvine and Tustin. Nothing like within the track layout. There's a single railroad crossing, and a couple bridges, which I didn't do yet, but that's it. I'll be doing the bridges once I have the entire track layout and all that. But other than that, the only thing in between Irvine and Tustin is a single railroad crossing. It's not even a horn zone. Then here's where I build Tustin, Right after this, I get the second track down because Tustin, as most of you watching would probably know, is 2 tracks. I just go back like 6 miles and get the track. That's crazy. I honestly can't believe I did that. It's amazing what a little bit of dedication can do with Trainz. What you can do with Trainz and a little bit of dedication. And if you've been to the Tustin station, what I'm doing right here, there's a couple Mao spurs. There's a lot of these along the orange sub. I don't really know why. And there's an old lead that goes to a complex that isn't served by the railroad anymore. This was kind of fun to do. The lead like kind of dies like halfway through, so it just goes into a curve and then the track just ends. Like, that's literally how it goes in real life. There's not even enough room in real life, like on this curve right here, there's not even enough room for a train to fit. It's like squished in between some bushes and sometimes even trucks. There's like an industry or two on both sides, so no room for trains there. And then, what actual train is this? This would be CP Aliso. I had to look. CP Aliso is your average control point. It's just 2 diverges. One goes to the other, one goes from main 1 to main 2, the other goes from main 2 to main 1. Your average control point. Nothing out of the ordinary. And now we get into the real fun. Right after I get the crossing boards on the other track. Now we're extending all the way to Santa Ana with the tracks. There's like 7 or 8 railroad crossings in between. If you guys are aware of what milepost 177.4 is, there's a defect detector right there. And surrounding it is 3 or 4 horn zone railroad crossings. There's 3 of them, like right next to each other, and then there's a 4th one, like a little bit north of them. It's a pretty cool spot. I pass by it all the time. And the 3rd crossing, I forget the name of the street, makes the train just bump up and down, and it's honestly kind of funny. It's been like that for years, and they haven't fixed it. I'm honestly quite surprised, though, that I haven't gone and rail fanned this spot. But, of course, I'm getting ahead of myself. That's not what I'm building right here. This is the Irvine Industrial Complex siding. Within this siding, there's another track that comes out, and that's a lead to the industrial complex. I'll build that in its own little video in a little bit. It's probably not going to be the next episode, but maybe once I get to Fullerton, I'll get some of the industrial complexes down here. So for now, I just work on the lead and the railroad crossing that's there. Nothing too crazy. And now we start working on milepost 177.4. Again, I'm quite surprised I haven't gone rail fan at this spot. It's 4 consecutive crossings in a row that are horn zoned, and the trains go decently fast through here. I think the reason being is that, like, it's Santa Ana. Santa Ana's, like, probably the shadiest town along the entire line. Like, oh god. One time, me and Bryson were coming home from Fullerton. This was November 27th, 2019. When we were... That one Ennis lead. It was the second Ennis lead I ever saw. Right before they became like a daily thing. And Bryson was desperate to see it, so he kind of snuck out of his house and came up to Fullerton. just to see it. And on our way back on Metrolink 608, right here in Santa Ana, we almost strike a person, and and when we go into emergency, we're thinking how screwed we are. It's the middle of the night, and we're in Santa Ana. Like, what are we gonna do? But thankfully, we didn't actually strike the person, so everything was fine. We were just delayed by like 20 minutes. But yeah, going into emergency is quite something. It's like, it catches you by surprise like every time. And it's like, it's a pretty good jolt. It's impressive how fast the trains can stop using emergency brakes. And now, if any of you have been to Santa Ana, you would know, probably, that there's a Union Pacific local that runs through here. LOA 32. And right here in Santa Ana, right at this spot right here, there's a lead that comes off of the tracks that leads to, I believe, the Costa Mesa Industrial Complex. I forget. It's somewhere in like Costa Mesa. It goes out there and does some switching. I don't really know. I don't pay attention to the UP locals that much. This is like really the only one I know about, or like I know like the full thing of. And from my dad has seen it before. It's only like a couple cars when at least when it passed him. I don't know what it normally carries. I'm pretty sure it's like grain or something. So yeah, I just finished up the lead. I don't think I put the river crossing down, but who cares? It's not like I'm gonna leave it like that when the route's all said and done. Probably when it's done, you'll probably be able to do the entire local that goes all the way to Costa Mesa. Then we've got one last railroad crossing, and then I build the Santa Ana station. And then that's it. Alright, I'm not gonna lie though. This part of the build was kind of a pain in the butt, but I know this is gonna be nothing compared to like Los Angeles area. That's gonna be like the worst. So I'm just gonna be thankful I'm not there yet. Also, if any of you have seen the Santa Ana train station, it's like clear to tell right off the bat that the platform I'm using isn't accurate, but the platform I'm using is just gonna be a placeholder until I either find someone who's willing to detail it or I eventually just detail it myself. But I don't know. It would be nice to have a little help, because I'm not the best with Trainz route detailing. I'm just really good with the layouts, with the tracks and all that. And yeah, with this railroad crossing, that wraps up the video. Thanks for watching.